Hey, this is Marcus Washington, MTC Media. So you know what? The one thing that makes me laugh about this whole um, unsustainability argument for sports, for college athletics, is this: these programs were in the red anyway. It was never sustainable. If being in the black means sustainability, then it was never sustainable because the majority of the programs, especially ones that had big time football, they weren't in the black anyway. So the unsustainability argument is just an argument of convenience because you're upset because now it's the rabbit who has the gun. It's the rabbit who has a certain level of leverage. And now all of a sudden there's this concern for money. It wasn't concern for money when coaches were getting, buyouts that are in double figures, as if that's sustainable. Coaches getting 20, 25 million, 70 plus million in the case of Jimbo Fisher. Florida paying 3 coaches for the second time in 7 years. You think that's good business? You think that's sustainability? But oh, no, 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 no. That was fine because it was the side of the house that you'll say, oh, I don't care about that. But when it's on the other side of the house and there's some leverage, which by the way is the way capitalism is supposed to work, the leverage is supposed to be on both sides because there's supposed to be choice on both sides. And now that college athletes have choice, that's what the transfer portal is. Now that college athletes have choice, that's what shopping your services around is. Everything that's part of free market capitalism. And now, all of a sudden, all these people have magically become socialists. All of a sudden, we need government intervention. All these things that I hear that are absolutely, positively bad and un-American. Now, all of a sudden, we need all of those things for college athletics. Nowhere else. No, of course not. Nowhere else. Just in college athletics. That's where we need that. We need to get these people under control. That's what you're saying. It was dumb in the first place that if I wanted to sign autographs for $50 at a car dealership, that somehow, some way, that would jeopardize my eligibility. I don't know. It sounds like to me that's me being an American, earning my own money from a brand that I have earned. So why not allow them to have the extra money? But the NCAA couldn't help themselves. They bet on litigation. And because they bet on litigation, any sustainability talk must be within the guardrails of legal judgments. They were the ones who did this. They are the ones who have to live with it. So I'm not going to blame the players. I'm not going to say it was better when the players get paid. I'm not going to say, well, it's not all right. You know when you do it. That does not mean legally that you can make that a condition. How many times does that have to be shown? Just because it's a choice to play college athletics doesn't mean you can write it in any way you want to write it. Grow up. How many court judgments do you have to see and hear to understand that? Saying it's not all right, it's a privilege. No one's forcing you to do it. This isn't forced labor. Doesn't mean that you can just make up any rules that you want. And the NCAA sold that nonsense for generations. And I never understood it even when I was young. What do you mean he can't go out and work and earn his own money? Well, you can't because that jeopardizes your eligibility. Why? Why isn't he applauded for that? He understands he's on scholarship. Why not earn some extra loot on the side? Oh, no, well, they can't do that because Billy Bob has his car dealership has an exclusive deal for ads in a particular arena, and they don't want you going to Jimmy Ray, Billy Bob's competitor, and striking a deal with him. And even though he doesn't have the big boards that's paying the school, he can have at least a little bit of a grab on the school. And by the way, the school gets none of it. And that's the other thing too. They get none of it. So that's their motivation. Their motivation was greed. And the greed has cost them. Why am I feeling sorry for them? It'll be sustainable. It's their job to figure it out how to. It will be sustainable, though. It's not going anywhere. It's not turning anyone off. And if anything, what it should do is reduce the number of Division I teams, both in football and basketball. There's too many. It doesn't have to be this number forever. So there's too many. There's probably could be cut in half. And this is the perfect time to do it because you'll have a financial reason to do it. You don't have to be a Division I school. So don't. The NCAA also can change what's the benchmarks of what Division 1, 2, 3, FBS, FCS, XYZ is. They can change that, make it easier on the schools, having a subdivision, doing those type of things. They can do all of those things on their end. No one is stopping them. But this idea that at the end I have to win, which is what this is all about. It's not about finding a solution. It's about winning. It's not about finding a solution. When the NCAA dedicates itself to finding a solution, I guarantee a solution will be found. It will be found. If the number one goal is to find a solution, it will be found. If the number one goal is sustainability, it will be found. That's not the number one goal right now. The number one goal is still, I have to get it my way. When they get out of getting this out of that, you're going to have sustainability. You're going to have those things. No one says a kid asking for $5 million that you have to give him $5 million. Well, someone else will give him $5 million. Okay, let that be on someone else then. No one says you have to do it, and it doesn't have to be a rule that says, well, no one's allowed to do it. I have my own business. I don't get to tell you because I can't do something financially as a business that some other, that Booz Allen Hamilton can't, that Boeing can't, that Lockheed Martin can't. They just look at you and say, too bad, so sad. You guys want the real world. That's the real world. It's not just the real world for the players. You guys want the real world? Well, we can all live in the real world. That includes the schools. That includes the NCAA. Grow up and live in the real world. When you grow up and live in the real world, there will be a solution and there will be sustainability. And I guarantee you there will be less D1 schools. And that's not bad. Because when we talk about who's owed what, these schools sure as hell aren't owed having bloated budgets so they can say they're a Division I football program or for them to say they're a Division I basketball program. They're not owed that either.